son. Looks to me like this lawn needs a mowing. That'll do, Paul. Now help me unload this puppy. Make sure not to let the wheels fall out. Yupper, she needs a mowing. Let's get her started.
I'm Maddie Freitas, and welcome to the Transcript. This week, the Transcript finds out more about the upcoming NHS art show. Hamped Up talks with the NHS baseball team. NOLA helps seniors cope with college rejection, and the other stuff learns about the Don't Say Gay bill.
Welcome to Hamped Up.
Y'all ready for this?
Last year, the NHS varsity boys baseball team powered through the season and ended with a strong finish by winning the Western Mass title. After losing core seniors, this year's baseball team has a much younger foundation. We sat down with the captains of the team to talk to them about their expectations for the new season and how it may differentiate from past seasons.
Winning Western Mass last season, what do you expect for this season?
Well, we expect a lot of high quality baseball, and just being a winning team again. We're trying to make another run at the Western Mass Championship. So, just holding ourselves to like a high standard and just giving it our all every day.
We're expecting everyone to come at us this year. You know, everyone's trying to beat us, and because we won last year, so there's a lot of pressure on us. So we're just trying to perform.
How is this season different from past years?
With this year, we're chasing 2 tournaments. Usually there's just the Western Mass tournament, but we're chasing that one and also the state tournament this year, so that's a little bit different. So just more baseball, more opportunities to go far and make a run.
This season's different from past years because we have a lot of inexperience. We have a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors that weren't able to play last year because we had such a senior-loaded team. So inexperience is probably the biggest thing that's different from years past.
Coming off the COVID year, we still have a lot of talent in this program. That's no different from past years. We're gonna win like other years. I think that's different is that most kids aren't used to starting this early because of COVID. We started later.
Do you have any goals you're setting for yourself or the team starting this season?
We're going back to back this year. That's the goal. Back to back.
Try to go back to back and then make a run in states.
Yeah.
Heartstopper, a beloved graphic novel turned Netflix series, premiered last week, and with it raised a conversation about queer representation in film and television. Heartstopper follows Charlie Spring, an out-gay teen in England, his friends Teo, Ellen, Isaac, and Charlie's friend-turned-boyfriend, Nick Nelson. The plot revolves around their lives in an all-boys secondary school and the struggles of growing up.
Critics are praising the show for its excellent queer representation, with the Daytime saying Heartstopper is a love story that breaks away from many of the common stereotypes you see in queer TV and movies. It's the story that we all wish we had in high school.
In particular, the story is praised for having a black trans character whose storyline doesn't revolve around her being trans. In addition, the show also highlights multiple young interracial queer couples. We talked to students, teachers, and award-winning queer sex educator Dr. Jane Fleischman about queer representation over the years and how they have been represented.
The first time I can remember watching a movie with queer representation in it was Rent. I was probably in 8th grade, and that was not good representation. The one bisexual character was incredibly promiscuous, and that was her character. The one lesbian was super frigid, and then they're like all dying of AIDS. So not super awesome for like a young queer person.
I think the representation of like bully to gay or over-sexualized bisexuals, we just need more happy things, because a lot of the representation we get is like sad people coming out and like their stories and how it's so sad, but we need people like living the best life they can and like being happy.
When the Stonewall Rebellion occurred on June 28th, it began on June 20th, went on for about 6 days in New York City, which was just maybe 40 minutes away from where I grew up on Long Island. I was in high school, just like you all. And yet I never knew it happened. Now, how can that be? It's because of this really insidious way that queer lives were just rendered either invisible or defamed. In terms of positive representations of queer people in the media, the very first positive one I remember was Ellen DeGeneres. And that was a big deal for me. And that was way late in my life. That was in 1997. You know, I was 40 years old already. That's pretty sad. So for people in high school today who are seeing queer representation in the media, I'm all for it. I'm so happy that we have some positive examples.
A second season has yet to be announced, but if you want to read the graphic novel for yourself, you can check one out in the library. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.
On Tuesday, the Daily Hampshire Gazette published an article on Superintendent Dr. John Provost becoming a finalist for the position of school chief in the Leicester and Athol-Royalston regional school districts. He is one of 4 that is still in the running for the position, and if he gets it, will assume the job July 1st. In his statement to the Gazette, Provost confirmed his finalist status for both school systems, but pointed out that his contract with Northampton has been renewed through June of 2025, although it can be terminated at any time. After speaking of his pursuit for superintendent in the 2 regions as his next potential professional challenge, he made sure to indicate his positive intentions for the Northampton school districts. Quote, "Whatever the outcome of these processes may be, I will remain focused on the students of Northampton and the work of making our district the best it can possibly be," end quote. While it is unclear as to whether or not he will be leaving our district anytime soon, it does seem that some personnel changes are on the horizon. We sat down with students to ask their opinions on the matter.
Well, I was pretty surprised when I read about it last night. I did not anticipate that it would happen. I think that for administrators of educational institutions of all kinds, it's just a really hard and kind of tumultuous time. Given COVID and everything else, so I know there's just a lot of turnover in these kinds of administrative positions across the board. Like the president of Smith College as well just announced her departure at the end of next year, and Dr. Provost, I don't know, leaving seems kind of a piece with that.
I definitely like Dr. Provost. I'm a fan of his. I think he's a good superintendent. I think that this is definitely a tough time for our superintendent to be leaving the school district, considering the issues with the administration at the high school and just changes within like the administration.
It's also unfortunate because I think Superintendent Provost, was really good about calling snow days this year. In the past, there was a lot of criticism of him calling snow days when there was no snow. I think he really had potential to call even better snow days in future years. And so I think it's too bad that we'll never really see his potential come to full fruition.
The Transcript will continue to report on this story as it develops. Thanks for watching.
With college rejection letters flooding in this month, seniors are going through the brutal and anxious experience of finding out their collegiate fate. Each year, over 4 million students apply for enrollment in higher education institutions. While the majority of students are accepted to at least one of their choices, rejection letters are at a record high due to an increase in applications. For the Ivy League colleges, acceptance rates dropped by more than 0.5%, the lowest they have ever been. I talked to our school guidance counselors as well as NHS seniors to hear about their experiences with college rejection and to try to flip the script on this unfortunate coming-of-age experience.
It's important to remember that while it's a big decision, there are a lot of possible good outcomes. I think sometimes the culture can kind of put this pressure on students to find the right fit. And I think you definitely want to take it seriously and figure out what's important to you and look for what's important to you, but you also want to remember that there are so many good options out there.
A big way I like to deal with my problems is by crushing them. So I decided to help these seniors and give them a little therapy.
Right! Right! Why isn't it breaking? So guys.
Thanks so much for watching. Seniors, how do you deal with your college rejection letters? DM us and let us know at Transcript NHS on Instagram. See you next week.
The art program is one of NHS's most popular subjects. This May, the art students of NHS are putting on an art show at the Hosmer Gallery in Forbes Library. We met with art teacher Miss Martindale and her students to see their process.
My process for creating art is I start taking some inspiration from things in my life or other pieces of media like songs. I also really like graphic novels, so maybe like comics and that type of thing. And then I just find a medium I want to use. I usually like to paint, so probably watercolor. And then I just kind of do it and see what happens.
I would say my inspiration comes from probably just my emotions mostly. I definitely paint or do art how I'm feeling, and I like a lot of very literal things. Like I like doing still lifes and things that I can see and replicate. But I also sometimes just like to let loose and do some fun colors and stuff. So there'll probably be a mix of that in my show.
The annual NHS art exhibition, it's an exhibition that's not prompted by a specific assignment. What students do is they work all year towards a culminating show at the Hosmer Gallery at Forbes Library, which is downtown Northampton. And there's two parts to this show, which is really exciting. One part is that the entire student population that takes art classes at NHS has artwork curated into the show. So the show is a representation of the variety of courses that we teach in the art department here at NHS. And then the second part of the exhibition is that it's an opportunity for our seniors who are enrolled in the Honors Art program to mount a senior show. We've been working towards this goal all year. Students in all classes know that they have the opportunity to exhibit work, and they're asked to select a piece of work that they feel proudest of, or in some cases, Ms. Sasson and I curate the work and work with the class to select the work. The Honors Arts group of students, the seniors, they have been working on it all year, specifically trying to decide what makes for a cohesive senior show. So they're working thematically and have been working through a project proposal, making work, curating work, and figuring out what makes for a cohesive show. This art show is a long-standing tradition here at NHS. We've been mounting the show at the Hosmer Gallery at Forbes Library since 2009. We missed the last 2 years due to the pandemic. And before that, there were annual art exhibitions at the Center for the Arts at downtown Northampton. So it's a long history, a long tradition that we're excited to continue with this year.
Be on the lookout for the annual NHS art exhibit on May 5th at Forbes Library. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, welcome to the other stuff.
On March 28th, the Parental Rights and Education Bill, also known as the Don't Say Bill, was signed into law by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
The bill states that it will, in quotes, prohibit classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in certain grade levels and require school districts to notify parents of healthcare services, end quote.
This refers to schools being required to notify families of their students' gender and sexuality.
This was met with opposition by many LGBTQIA+ advocates, saying that the bill causes more harm to students than it helps families.
With the signing of this bill and similar bills being proposed all across the country, we talked to members of the GSA and Sasha about the impact of the bill may have on students.
I think it's going to affect school life very negatively, especially because a lot of students that aren't openly out or are even just questioning are going to feel really trapped because they don't have anywhere to go, they don't have any acceptance, and they're probably not going to feel very safe.
I think that this bill will affect students in the affected states in a major way. I think that one of the main functions of a school is to provide a safe space for students, and I think this is going to eliminate that for a large majority of students. But I fear that also here in Northampton we're in this protective little bubble, and we sometimes become complacent and we forget that our neighboring towns and neighboring states aren't in such a protected bubble. And I think that this will hopefully awaken us to the fact that this is still an ongoing issue. Our students still need to be protected. Our young people still need to be protected. And I know that I feel really grateful to teach in a school where I can be who I am and hopefully make some students feel more comfortable being in my space because of my identity and because of the fact that I'm open. And I feel sad for teachers in other districts who don't have that same privilege.
I would say that the main thing people in the GSA and just people in general could do is just, only if they feel comfortable, of course, is that if there's someone being homophobic towards them, then let them know, to change their opinion, because a lot of people, I think at least, have just a biased opinion from the media.
The GSA is already putting plans together to help spread the word of just kindness and loving each other. And even just having a space for students to be safe and feel like they have a place to be themselves is very helpful. Some people might be like, oh, I don't want to go because people are going to think I'm but that's not a bad thing. You know, you don't have to be to be there, but you can just show up to support us. And the support of people that are outside of the community can really help in ways that a lot of people don't realize.
Thank you so much for watching, and happy Lesbian Visibility Week.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to come see all the great student acts at the Bow Bow Bash to benefit the J. Scott Brandon Fund tonight at 6 p.m. at the Workroom in 33 Holly Street. For more information, visit the Northampton Arts Council on Instagram and Facebook.